Hi everybody, Guillaume here for Thomann Guitars and Basses at NAMM 2026 with Mr. Jeff at ESP LTD. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Holding up. NAMM show.
Yeah, NAMM show. I love that every year we just come here and it's kind of nice and cozy and we just get to hang out and talk about guitars.
That's what it's all about. Why have a NAMM show if you can't do that?
I know, but doing it in quiet is a little extra special.
I agree. Look, I've spent many years working down on the floor of the show where you guys have obviously spent some time. And like I'm trying to talk about something and there's somebody hitting a splash cymbal over here and there's some guy playing a tuba like 3 feet over there. So no, this is a little bit nicer, more preferable.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, but let's get back on topic, all right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about some guitars. I see some names on the wall that I'm very excited about, but
Yeah.
take us through it.
Well, you know, ESP has always been a company with a strong focus on our artist signature models. These guitars are all based on the ESP custom shops guitars that these guys purchase for their own use. And then we figure out a way to re-envision them in a way that's a guitar that more people can afford and be able to use and is in a higher level of distribution so they can go order it from their favorite music store.
Hi.
So I think one thing that we want to probably start with talking about, although not in any particular order at all, I want to mention the fact that we have new Alexi Laiho models here. This is a special edition that commemorates the 20th anniversary of Alexi's relationship with ESP. And one of the great things about this is that, you know, we work very closely with Alexi's family. You know, we want to do things that are very much with an artist who's passed away, unfortunately, but still has this tremendous influence. You know, how many people around the world still to this day view him as their primary guitar influence? It'd really be a shame not to offer something to those people. So we have two models. This one I'm holding right now is the Alexi Laiho Sawtooth 20th Special Edition. Okay. We also have the Arrowhead Special Edition, which has the wide gold striping on it. Right. Again, this is a guitar that's very much built to Alexi's personal specifications. You'll notice that it's got
The scalloping.
Yep, at the top frets. It's got his EMG HZ, which is a passive pickup. Yep, absolutely. And a Floyd. And, you know, we want to be able to continue offering players out there who love Alexi. You know, the guitars themselves usually sell through very quickly, as I'm sure you know. So to have a new model out there that's commemorative for him, we feel it's going to be a very important model for us, this and the Arrowhead version.
Yeah, no, but it's important to maintain the legacy of artists like that left too early and, you know, still left an immense fan base behind that are, yeah, going to keep playing those.
That's 100% true. And there's also a personal aspect of it that Alexi was close to a lot of us at ESP. You know, we considered this guy our friend, and you don't want to see somebody like that, their name diminish over the course of time. He merits all of the attention. And there are people still to this day that Children of Bodom is their favorite band. Why not give them a guitar that's going to work for them?
100%.
This is the new
Yes.
Joe Duplantier of Gojira, his signature model, the JD1. And a lot of people found out in a very interesting way when he had joined the ESP family. And we'd been talking to him for a good amount of time before that. Yeah. But it was the 2024 Olympics, the opening ceremony in Paris, France. And Joe stepped out on stage with basically this guitar in an all chromed out version, you know. Now, the fact of the matter is an all chrome guitar, not the most viable thing for most people.
No. My OCD, like just the thought of it, no, I can't. I couldn't keep it clean. I couldn't.
You can't keep it clean. And meanwhile, you know, the audience is just looking at a mirror reflection of themselves the entire time. Not what everybody wants. So this is the JD1. It is a completely new and original shape. You'll notice that, for example, the lower horn here is a lot different than most of our other offset type of things. But he fully specified every inch of this, every component. If you'll notice...
The bridge, yeah, it's completely different.
I mean, look how flat that is. And if you're a guy who does a lot of palm muting, if you're a guy who does a lot of pick slides, this is designed for that. This is really meant for Joe's style of playing. So everything on this guitar, from the tuners to the neck profile to everything, is all based on Joe's personal specification. He was involved every step of the way. This guitar went through many different iterations before we arrived at this, and we're super happy about it. Great debut here at 2026.
This is so exciting. Like I've seen Gojira live the first time I was 11 years old at my hometown festival, and that was for
Oh, look at that.
that was for Master Serious. And I'm like, since I'm so happy that this is finally happening, because yeah, after the Olympics, everybody was like, oh.
You know, we feel it was a really good match because ESP, what are we known for? It's a high performance guitar. He's a guy that's just representational of the type of person we'd love to see playing ESP out there. I want to direct the attention up above so we don't forget this one yet. This is a brand new signature model. This is the JS7. That JS is for Jack Simmons of Slaughter to Prevail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so this is a beast. 7-string, neck through body. It's the NV shape, which is a little bit more tough and classic. You know, hardtail. It's got a Fishman open core pickup. And again, for single volume, single pickup, no nonsense, just ready to rock. So that's definitely a cool one. I want to point out that we have a new finish for the Mick Thomson MT1. This is Mick, of course, of Slipknot. And we decided to pull this out in this satin black finish. Once again, with an artist like Mick, he's got a very specific set of considerations. So the high mass, hip shot, bridge, his Fishman pickup, and hip shot tuners. These are all things that he specified. I know, they're just so cool, man.
They're so good looking. Like I know
beautiful,
it's dumb because you're like they just need to do their job, but like no, but they look good too.
They look good, and of course the functionality's there, but they just also just look like it's like the wing of a jet fighter or something, man. They are so cool. And again, this is a situation where, you know, Mick had already specified what he wanted from his custom shops that he was going out and purchasing. So, you know, when we introduce a signature guitar, especially on the LTD side of things, we want it to be as representational as possible to what that artist would put on their signature guitar while still being affordable for the majority of musicians to be able to use out there. Stephen Carpenter of Deftones, this is a new colorway for him. This is a guitar that he's been putting out for a very long time. It's the SC607, now in this magenta finish with the gold hardware. It pops, it looks kind of cool, man. I like this one a lot. And then one other signature as well, you might not even recognize.
Oh, well, I mean, that headstock is hard to miss.
Headstock gives it away a little bit. So this is a George Lynch GL200K, the K being for Kamikaze. It doesn't have all the graphics all over the place, but it is the Kamikaze shape, you know. And of course, as we say, the hockey stick headstock on there tells it all. You know, it's funny, this guitar's got some mass to it. It's basswood, that's what George prefers for this. Set of ESP pickups, a Floyd. You know, George picked the guitar up when we were doing our demo videos this year for the showroom, and he just couldn't put it down. He's just like, this is great. This is an awesome guitar. And again, being a 200 level guitar means that that's a very, very affordable instrument. And it's not just, you know, guitars like this, it's not just for people who were Dokken fans, you know. This is a cool guitar. There's whole new generations of people who are coming out that maybe their dad listened to Dokken, you know, but they're looking to create new things and have something that's kind of cool and unique. This is that guitar, for sure.
It looks killer, and I at first I've always thought that headstock was just goofy, but the more I look at, like, when you carry the guitar and when you have it in front of a body, like it immediately looks different.
I think that there's an aspect also that there's certain players that they purposely don't want to look like everybody else. And sometimes it's the detail stuff. Sometimes it is the shape of the headstock. Sometimes it's the horns on the guitar. They want to have a unique representation, and it makes them more memorable as a player, as a guitarist, when they're out doing their thing on stages. We've now reintroduced what's called the LTD 400 series, okay? So this, for example, is the EC 400. All these guitars have a certain commonality. They all have EMG pickups. They all have rosewood fingerboards, okay? But they are guitars that come in at an affordable price point, okay? So we all know, I mean, you know, and we're not the only ones. Everybody out there in the world is dealing with price increases. And I'm not talking about just guitars either. Cars are expensive. Eggs are expensive. Milk is expensive, okay? We needed to do something, but we weren't going to just offer either the lowest end or the LTD 1000 series, the higher end of the LTD thing. This 400 series really splits the difference really well. They're at a price point that are very affordable for most musicians. But look at this. I mean, it's got a, quilt maple top on there. It's got the EMGs. It's got the rosewood fingerboard. And this is a guitar that's, ready to play for anyone. When I was younger, I would have killed for a guitar like this.
To have something that bridges the gap is really, really cool.
It's necessary, and you don't want to be in a situation where your guitars are priced out of who the customer it is that you want to go afterwards. That's what LTD has always been about. Well, components cost more. It costs more to build guitars these days. This guitar was the perfect in-between thing. So we've got a number of these 400 series guitars. For example, that's the EC. We also have this TH400. That's a great looking charcoal metallic finish. It just looks cool, man. It just looks great. But we also have the MH400 and M400. So basically most of our popular shapes are now also available in this 400 series. Historically, ESP was known for is some more extreme shapes, And the fact is, companies need to keep making these things, okay? We can't have a world where there's only two shapes of guitars, okay? The fact is, and again, it's mostly metal, don't get me wrong. But in the world of metal, people want to stand out. They want to differentiate themselves, okay? So for example, these two guitars up top here, this is the RS1000, the RS being for an ESP shape called the Random Star. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Did you tell? Isn't that crazy? But also the NV, which is this shape here, which is just a foreshortened V shape.
Yeah.
These are great guitars. Again, EMG based because that aggressive sound is part of that vibe of that guitar. And those are brand new for us. We've also done things like, with our Aero guitar, it's now available in a white finish. For many, many years, we went, I think, a little too safe in making too many black guitars, And a black guitar is like a black suit or a black dress. It's always going to work, don't get me wrong. But variety is the spice of life, man, So more grays, more quilts, more whites, and pearl white as well. You can see the metallic in there as well.
All right, we're just going to take a little break from LTD to go to ESP, the main brand name, the very, very nice, very, very nice.
They are. And, you already know this, but we'll say it anyway. If it says ESP on the headstock, that means that it is a handcrafted guitar. They're built one at a time. And in the case of the guitars that we're going to be looking at right now, they're guitars that come from the ESP custom shop in Tokyo, Japan. Okay. So these guitars at this point, we call them the ESP Original Series, when that means pretty much like it sounds. When we started in 1975, these were the original guitar shapes and built at the same place as they are here in 2026, over 50 years later. Okay. So one of the reasons, I don't have to talk much about these. These are all extremely well-known guitars. The craftsmanship that goes into them, legendary. The components that they use, always the best of the best in the world. But what we're doing right now in 2026, we are ramping up the amount of ESP Original Series that we're getting out to the world, okay? So we've got some shapes, at least here in the USA, but in some places all around the world, where we have not offered in a long time. This is the Maverick. 27 frets, which is kind of cool. 24 not high enough for you? Let's go 3 more. Need to play an F? No problem. Bend it up to a G? I can do this. And of course, a finish like this, it's going to really pop and stand out. But we're trying to do more stuff with the ESP Original Series and get them out in a little bit of a wider distribution so that they're more available to more people.
That's great, because that's always been the problem, if anything, is like, they're hard to get and they go fast. Like when they're here, they're not here for long.
That's absolutely 100% true. And again, are these the guitars for everybody? Not necessarily, but Ferraris aren't for everybody to drive either, We're also ramping up some more on our ESP E-II guitars. And ESP E-II used to be called the ESP Standard Series up until 2013, okay? These are made in Japan, but as opposed to being made one at a time at the ESP Custom Shop, they're made at the ESP factory. It's a wholly owned factory. A very high, very stringent quality control level for E-II. Outstanding finishes. This is called an Andromeda, where if you look at it in different angles, it could be blue, purpley, green, all kinds of stuff. But once again, E-IIs we want to make sure that we're able to get them into people's hands faster than we had in previous years. So one of our big goals in 2026, both with the original series and with our E-II guitars, get more of them out there, maintain the same high level of quality, never sacrifice anything in the interest of just having more. But we've got some systems now in place where we're going to be able to deliver those guitars faster than we were before. We're pretty stoked on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good to hear.
We are trying to make it so that most of these guitars are arriving at ESP dealers around the world pretty quickly at this point. So it's not a matter of show it at NAMM and wait 8 months to get one. You know, we want to be able to deliver these guitars very quickly. So that's what we're looking forward to.
That's awesome. You guys definitely check out the link in the description for more specs, for availability, for all that stuff. Jeff, as always, thank you so very much, man.
Always good to see you guys.
Likewise.
You guys do a wonderful job of what you do.
Thank you.
And we're always happy to have ESP represented through you guys.
Thank you so very much. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.